Thousands of police officers flooded Britain's streets on Tuesday in a bid to end the country's worst rioting in a generation, as some shopkeepers closed early and some residents stood guard to protect their neighbourhoods. The unrest spread across central and northern England on the fourth night of violence, driven by poor, diverse and brazen crowds of young people. Scenes of ransacked stores, torched cars and blackened buildings frightened and outraged Britons just a year before the London is set to host the Summer Olympic Games, and brought demands for a tougher response from law enforcement. A top police officer in Manchester said the city had been shamed by the violence and criminality. In London, the Metropolitan Police said there would be 16,000 officers on the street, almost triple that number present on Monday. Although London saw no new unrest on late Tuesday, the chaos had spread to cities across the country. In Manchester, hundreds of youths rampaged through the city centre, hurling bottles and stones at police and vandalising stores. A Miss Selfridge clothing store on the city's main shopping street was set ablaze, along with a disused library in nearby Salford. Looters targeted stores selling designer clothes and expensive consumer electronics.
Police officers have been faced with extraordinary levels of violence from groups of people intent on shameful criminality against the people and the communities of Greater Manchester. Shops have been targeted, they've been looted and set on fire, as criminals have, I think, brought shame upon the cities, particularly of Manchester and Salford, and brought no sense of any understanding about the impact of their actions. With no sense of the impact that they can have in terms of people, their livelihood, on the reputation of these cities, these are pure and simple criminals who have been running wild tonight across Greater Manchester, particularly in the city centre and in Salford.
Said Assistant Chief Constable Gary Shewan, adding that shops had been targeted, looted and set on fire by criminals who had brought shame on the cities of Manchester and Salford. The riots began on Saturday when an initially peaceful protest over a police shooting in London's Tottenham neighbourhood turned violent. The clash has morphed into a general lawlessness in London and several other cities that police have struggled to halt with ordinary tactics. Rioters, able to move quickly and regroup to avoid the police, have been left virtually unchallenged in several neighbourhoods, plundering stores at will. Police said they were considering the use of plastic bullets, blunt-nosed projectiles designed to deal punching blows to rioters without penetrating the skin. Such weapons, formerly called baton rounds, are still used to quell riots in Northern Ireland, but have never been used by police on Britain's mainland. The government rejected calls by Conservative lawmaker Patrick Mercer and some members of the public for strong armed riot measures that British police generally avoid, such as tear gas and water cannons. Police launched a murder inquiry after a man was found with a gunshot wound during riots in the South London suburb of Croydon died of his injuries on Tuesday. See below for more details on Britain's unrest.